Hello, everyone, and welcome to our debate discussing the use of restraints and seclusion. In this debate, we will be discussing both the pros and cons regarding the use of restraints and seclusion. With us in this debate today, supporting its use, is Jennifer as attacker, Lauren as the prover, and Sony as the stater. On the opposing position, we have myself, Shailene as the stater, and Adela as the prover and attacker. During this debate, each side will have a turn to discuss their position on the matter. We will begin with the proponents as they discuss their findings to support their position. Following, the opponents will have an opportunity to defend their standing on my signal to counter. Each side will have an approximately 5 minutes to state their position and evidence. We will now speak on the findings of their position. We will now hear from Sony.
Hi, everyone. First, I would like to begin by defining restraint and seclusion. Vollmer et al. In 2011, in the Association for Behavior Analysis International position statement on restraint and seclusion provided definitions which we will be using today. Restraint involves physically holding or securing the individual, either A, for a brief period of time to interrupt and intervene with severe problem behaviors, or B, for an extended period of time using mechanical devices to prevent otherwise uncontrollable problem behavior, for example, self-injurious behavior, that has the potential to produce serious injury. Seclusion involves isolating an individual from others to interrupt and intervene with problem behavior that places the individual or others at risk of harm. When it comes to restraints, an individual must be trained in procedures to use protective holds, blocks, transport, or escort an individual safely. For the safety of both the client and the professionals, it is important to get the proper training. Lauren will be speaking about CPI and the need for de-escalation procedures. We are not proposing restraining an individual for overturning a table once and calmly sitting down. We are advocating the use where the individual poses an imminent danger to himself or others in the immediate vicinity. When all other strategies have been tried and failed, restraint and seclusion become necessary to prevent imminent harm. We do not want to harm our clients, but we also cannot sit back and watch or allow them to hurt themselves or others. As I stated, our position is that restraints and seclusion should be used as a last resort per Code 4.08c. Those who will be applying these strategies need to be properly trained to prevent injury to the client and themselves per Code 4.08d. Also, protocols should be in place for the removal of these procedures as quickly as possible, as stated in Code 4.08d, and decisions should be informed by the data and not an emotional response. As behavior analysts, we have an obligation under Code 1.01 to rely on scientific knowledge, and Code 2.09 relates to the client's right to effective treatment, which may include restraint and/or seclusion based on the literature per Code 2.09a. Furthermore, Code 1.05f state personal beliefs about restraint and seclusion should not compromise their duty to provide effective treatment per Code 2.09a and c. To support the use of restraints and seclusion, the following points will be discussed: the history of the use of restraints and seclusion and its use in imminent danger to self or others, the quality of the clients' and their families' lives, and the issue of do no harm.
Okay, we will now be hearing from the stater on the con side, which is myself, Shailene. Opposed to the idea of using restraints and seclusions, we have done thorough research and have identified cases in which the use of physical restraints has caused serious injury to the individual. With a series of events in which restraints weren't used appropriately and without proper training, we stand firm in our stance that restraints and seclusion should not be an option to ensure the safety and dignity of the clients in which we work with. To support our stance, we will be presenting the following points. Sunland Miami case in which individuals were mistreated and the use of restraints and seclusions weren't used with appropriate training and protocols. The White versus Stickney case, which addresses right for individuals with mental disabilities to receive effective and proper treatment. On this topic, we might also consider the companies that have been created to address aggressive behaviors because the reality is that they do exist. We might consider CPI, QBS, and all other safety certifications that have been set in place to address these. Across all companies, prior to implementation of restraints, it is very crucial to implement de escalation procedures as well as antecedent management. Antecedent management of being of the most importance as we want to prevent escalation, not only address the situation once a crisis has been reached. There are many events that have led to the ongoing debate upon this topic. To also include a study by Ray, Myers, and Rappaport. In this study conducted, 1,040 individuals completed a survey on their treatment at a psychiatric facility. From this study, about 73% of the individuals reported that upon the implementation of restraints and seclusion, they were not dangerous to themselves or others. They reported that the staff had said their behaviors were inappropriate but not dangerous. The rest of the respondents reported only saying that their behaviors were not dangerous at the time. We will now be hearing from the prover on the pro side, Lauren.
I myself, as well as many of the people in this debate, have worked with individuals who engage in self-injurious and harmful behaviors to others. The question we all want to answer is, how do we make sure our client and others around them remain safe? When these behaviors occur, it is our responsibility as professionals to make sure that clients do not harm themselves and or others. It is in the opinion of the pro side of the debate that the safest and most efficient way to do this is by utilizing the use of appropriate seclusion and restraints. That is not to say that professionals should engage in seclusion and restraint practices by default. However, when appropriately employed, both technically and in response to self-injurious and harmful behaviors to others, seclusion and restraint is the safest and most evidence-based option. I would like to begin by discussing functional behavior assessments and behavior intervention plans. Professionals conduct FBAs and create VIPs in order to target problem behaviors. These plans are created on an individual basis. In some cases, seclusion and restraint are part of these behavior plans. This is a last resort measure that ensures that no one gets hurt. The point of the plan is to establish what a student's triggers are and how the situation can be de-escalated before it turns into a scenario where seclusion and restraint practices are necessary. This plan may include antecedent interventions, reinforcement schedules, incentives, replacement behaviors, and so on. The plan will also include specific language that adults should use or not use when attempting to de-escalate the situation. If the situation moves into crisis in which the student is harming themselves or other people around them, then and only then is when seclusion and restraint should be employed. Supporting this claim, myself, Sunny, and Jen found a study that was conducted by Richard Fox and James Mendel, in which a behavior plan was created to address the aggressive behaviors of a 13-year-old boy with autism. The plan put in place included consistent and frequent positive reinforcement, a token system, allowed for the child to make choices, response costs, overcorrection, and when needed, physical restraint. With this plan, the boy's aggressive behavior decreased to 0 or close to 0 incidences, and the boy was able to make sufficient growth in many academic areas as a result. In addition, these results have been maintained for over a year. Seclusion and restraint was used in this study when appropriate and in response to self-harm or harmful behaviors of others, and contributed to the success of this behavior plan, not to mention kept the child and others safe. Next, I'd like to discuss the technical act of seclusion and restraint. First of all professionals working with a child who has the potential to go into crisis behavior must be properly trained. There are many different kinds of programs that exist, including CPI, PMT, etc. I've worked in schools and behavior clinics, and in each of these places, my employers have made this a requirement of my employment. These practices follow the idea that seclusion and restraint are a last resort scenario and stress the importance of my above description, in which includes other interventions put in place to de-escalate a child before it becomes appropriate to seclude and or restrain them. In this training, one learns how to safely restrain and transport a child so that the child is not harmed in any way. The technicality of these restraints have been modified and changed over the years in order to make them efficient and safe for each person involved. In addition, parents are at a loss of what to do when their children are engaging in self-injurious and or harmful behaviors. Here's a video discussing family members' opinions on seclusion and restraint being included in their child's behavior plan.
Guys, let's just try this again. You guys can hear it when I play it, huh?
Jen?
Yeah.
Jen, can
you hear it on your end?
I can't hear it at all anymore.
It's quiet.
Is it working on your end, Jen?
Yeah, I can hear it. It's quiet, but it works. But that's as high as my volume goes.
Okay. Shailene, can you play it on yours maybe then?
Yeah, do we want to switch? Do you want to present the PowerPoint then, or do you guys want to do the way I was doing it earlier and let me just switch?
Let's just do it how it was working.
How we were doing it the first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I can hear you guys.
All right, let's just try this again. Let me pull up the videos. Hang on. Or let me see if it's still up here. Okay, I still got the videos up here.
I don't know why. Right after Shailene spoke, after myself, I couldn't hear anyone.
We couldn't hear it. Oh, after she spoke.
Yeah, after Shailene, I couldn't hear anyone after myself.
Lauren, you took a while to come on. Were you muted? Because I couldn't see.
Yeah, I was muted.
I can't hear. Okay, so
I'm not muted.
Sorry, one more time.
Okay.
All right. I'll email you guys.
Uh-huh.
Okay.